What's up, guys? It's Melanie, the Daisy INTP. Welcome back to my channel. This week, I'll be honest, I'm a little burnt out. Like I said in my last really short video, I'm back at work. I'm back at work full time all of a sudden. And when I say full time, I work in film production, and so a regular average day is 12 hours. I work at a show where those shifts usually go over. So, it was kind of like going from 0 to 100 real quick. Back at work full time, and I'm actually working 2 jobs at the moment. Now, for a save your gather person, that sounds about right. I went from no work in quarantine to working at least 2 jobs, and between the 2 jobs, having to actually cut down my hours because I would have ended up working so many. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this week's video, about what I like to call tough calls for skibs, aka making hard decisions and tough calls, organizing your known information when you are a savior gatherer. So if you're a fellow skib, I'm too overworked this week to re-look up the exact definition of skib in Objective Personality System. I do think, though, that it is having the animals of consume, play, blast before your sleep energy. Comment below if you remember. I just don't have the energy right now. Could you tell I'm asleep last? Anyway, while we're still in this worldwide pandemic, and as much as I don't like to admit it, I am aging as a person, as we all are. Having the animal of sleep last can end up in some crashes if you're not careful. We love to gather in the new, and we kind of don't like to stop ever. So if your human need of gathering comes before your organizing known information, or you're a fellow demon sleep or sleep laster, I'm going to talk a little bit about the process I followed to come to the tough decision of cutting down my hours on this job that I identify so highly with and love because it's so exciting. Yet if I worked as many hours as I wanted to, it's a direct route to stress, burnout, and who knows what other consequences that aren't super great for your health, and not to mention work-life balance. So if you're a fellow skib, maybe you can relate. I'm probably going to speak a little generally about this process. Honestly, I'm still getting used to this crazy work schedule, so I don't have as much time to edit my video as I normally would. So, not trying to skimp, but I am trying to be realistic and balanced. So the show that I work at is much like any other film or television production in that it has a schedule, and it doesn't go all year long. Meaning working in film production is not the most stable job of all time. Usually people who work in film are freelance. So when this show rose from the ashes of quarantine, I was happy to be back on board. My hours this year have increased, and this job could be full-time, which usually it's not in seasons past. So right around the same time I started working on the show again, another job that I work at called me up seeing if I wanted to come back again too. So the other job that I work at is what you could call the money gig. If you're a part of the gig industry, if you're an artist who works survival jobs, you know the drill. Now this job is kind of like, really? Do I have to keep doing this? So this job symbolizes SI for me. My known information, the sensory that I didn't really want to go over because I've been there, done that. Now this show that I work, however, this temporary, glittering, shiny jewel that changes every week, that I'm dealing with new, exciting people in different situations every week. Yeah, that sounded like what I wanted to do. But then come to find out, if I worked both jobs, I would be burning the candle at both ends, working far too many hours with basically no days off. If I decided to blow off my SI, boring, organized gig, the day would soon come when my film production schedule ends and I'd need a job anyway. So accepting my old reliable, organize over gather, SI, known information job was the right thing to do in this situation. Which means, as a sleep last person, I sadly would have to cut a day off of my exciting work week at the show that I so identify with, is so a part of my save your identity and save your gather. So this tough call for this skib required a lot of sleep energy and heavily leaning into my SI. Look who's all grown up. The main takeaway from this challenging process of doing my demons and making this adult decision is that having a personal life goal, that seems kind of broad, but remembering what I do this for. So in essence, having a why, the concept that guy Simon Sinek came up with, really is helpful in that hard moment of taking away that instant gratification and instead going with the less exciting, stable decision that will benefit you in the long run. So definitely remembering what you're setting out to do. If you don't know, it's a good thing to figure out about yourself. I think this is probably definitely a save your identity thing to do, where it's like a pleasure to figure out what's my purpose in life? Like, why am I doing anything? Picking the stable job and thereby cutting off some of my fun, pleasurable, exciting job affords me to have that baseline of income that, well, will just keep me going. We all have bills to pay, but also the hours for that job are ideal to keeping time open for auditions. And I did come here to be creative, to be an artist, to be an actor professionally. So the stable job, while not as exciting as my cool starry-eyed production job, allows me to keep plugging away at my own dreams. So remembering that was super helpful when telling my boss that I needed to turn my back on the star-studded days that I so love. Ooh, shiny things! Now, I think with practice, maybe experience, comes enforcing your boundaries. So once you make that tough call, and in my case for this job, next comes actually turning and walking away from the cool job and forcing yourself to rest, have the little sleep energy, take the one extra day off where you could be doing all this cool stuff on set, and instead taking care of your health, doing your laundry, making your YouTube video, etc. before you go back to work the next day on your next minimum 12-hour day the next day. It's actually enforcing the decision you made. So first comes remembering your why. I know it sounds like I'm just like touting this book or whatever, but remembering why you're doing it is helpful in those tough moments where you're just like, well, I'll just stay. So this can be applied to anything. Like, our bar is open. If you're just like, no, I'll just stay for one more drink, or whatever thing you'd rather be doing in the moment, you need to turn and walk away. It's helpful to, again, remember why you're doing it, because the thing is, nobody is gonna either do it for you or remind you of what a fucking hero you are for making this decision and having a boundary, making this hard call. No one's gonna hold your hand and help you along. I mean, like, unless you're like paying someone to do that. And if you are, that's actually a pretty good idea. I might try that. I mean, there is accountability. You can like get yourself an accountability partner, but no one's really gonna be there to pat you on the back when you're just like, I'd rather stay here than take care of my health or just stop and rest when I'd rather be like living it up. I think it's helpful to have save your identity in this instance, or at least visit the human need of identity, like, who am I when you're in these tough situations? But it's helpful to have affirmations, as cheesy as it might sound sometimes, or to just speak nicely to yourself when you're doing the thing you said you're gonna do. Like in my case at this job, I want to hang out with these cool, like, rock star-ish type of people who then make me feel cool and interesting. I need to remind myself that I'm already cool for going out and doing the actual work and practice of taking care of my body enough to know that I can't work 1,000 hours in a week and have to balance my schedule with both jobs so that I have my fun, growth-related gather job where I get to do all kinds of exciting stuff and interact with different people with lots of creativity all day. And then I have my stable SI, organizing my known information, getting my stability in order on the other hand, as well as some time away from work before I find myself burnt out, spend some time with my partner, my friends, connect with my family, do my errands, take care of myself So in this instance, when I had to tell my supervisor at my fun gather job that I had to cut my hours in order to do the boring adult organized SI thing, I was speaking nicely to myself that I was speaking to my own bottom line and my own identity, my own savior TI of this is what I set out to do as an artist, a creator, an actor, and now I will support my physical body, get my money in order to have that stable foundation of, you know, paying my bills and putting money towards my future in my future ventures. And that has a lot to do with remembering my why, that work-life balance is important to me, my health is important to me. I set out for a creative life and not just a starving artist life. And again, I'm setting out to have as much joy as my fun gather job brings me, but on my own terms in a way that it's sustainable and not just like being at the party all night long and then party's over. I know I'm speaking kind of in abstract any terms, so I'm using a lot of intuitive talk. Hope this is resonating with you. I'm gonna stop there for now. Let me know if you're a demon sleep or demon organize, what making hard decisions is like for you. If you're a savior organize, maybe you can give me some tips. Leaning into my sleep energy really feels like suffocation. Since I'm a bit older now, I know that it's the right thing to do and I'm doing it, but it really, really is a challenge. So here's to doing your demons. Cheers. That's all I got for you this week, guys. I hope you're doing well. If you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I talk about personality types for cool people. I talk about objective personality system. And here at the Daisy INTP, we know that possibilities are everywhere. Hope you guys have a great week. Catch you next time. Peace.